Learning target, students will write functions in different yet equivalent forms. Solving polynomials by factoring and grouping like terms. Assignment number 6-4B, page 349, numbers 41 through 49 odd. So to solve equations with to solve polynomial equations by grouping like terms, you're going to want to first write down your equation, and after you have your equation written down, you are going to want to factor it. And you factor it by kind of backwards foiling it, so we now are working with x cubed, and that is broken down into x squared times x. And we also have x squared here, and that, since there's no number in front of it, it's just x squared by itself. And there's already an x squared right here that we wrote down. It's just plus 1. Oops. And that was this first part of the equation. And now you have x plus 1 left. You still have to factor that. Since there's no number in front of x, it will just be plus 1, and then in parentheses x plus, because it's positive still, and it's just 1 here, and then 1 times 1, as we know, is just 1. Oops. So then from there, you are going to want to break this part down even further, and you do that by combining like terms. And the like terms here are x plus 1 and x plus 1 in parentheses. And if you combine those, that will be x plus 1 parentheses squared. Now, we don't want the squared part. We don't want this. So we are just going to get rid of it. And we're going to rewrite it as, still in parentheses though, x plus 1 for the first part. And then you can combine x squared and the plus 1 over here. Since they are not in parentheses, they're combinable. It would be just x squared plus 1. And that would be your answer if there was no numbers in front of the x cubed, the x squared, and just the x by itself. Now, if there were numbers in front of it, for example, like a problem like this, oops, this one has a lot of different numbers in it, but you would first start off by writing, x squared. That's always going to be your first term no matter what, parentheses, 3x minus 2. And you get that because x squared times 3x gives you 3x cubed, and negative 2 times x squared gives you negative 2 squared. Negative 2x squared, my fault. And then for the rest of your equation here, you are going to want to write that as minus 3, parentheses, 3x minus 2. And the reason for that is, well, negative 3 times 3x gives you negative 9x right here. And negative 3 times negative 2 gives you a positive 6. And, like in the other one, the other problem I showed you, this can be broken down even further. And it can be broken down into, since this term and this term are the same, 3x minus 2 and the parentheses are the same, it can be written as 3x minus 2 squared, but we don't want the square, so we're going to get rid of that, and we're just going to write it as 3x minus 2, and then we combine the x2 and the negative 3 because they are not in parentheses, and then this is your answer.